I never believed in ghost stories. Not the kind people whispered about online. Not the ones where security cameras caught shadows moving by themselves. I always assumed there was a logical explanation, until I accepted one night shift at an abandoned shipping warehouse on the outskirts of town. By sunrise, 3 people were dead. 1 had vanished without leaving a single footprint. And security cameras recorded someone walking the aisles who had died 8 years earlier. If you're listening to this while working a night shift, you might want to keep the lights on, because this story is true. At least, that's what the police report claims. My name is Ethan. 2 years ago, I worked private security after losing my construction job. The pay wasn't great, but it covered rent. One Friday afternoon, my supervisor called. "Ethan, we've got an overnight assignment." "Where?" "Warehouse 17. He paused. "No one wants it." I laughed. "What happened? Rats?" "No." Another silence. "People quit." I asked why. "They say someone keeps walking inside after the building is locked." I thought it was another urban legend. Extra pay was offered. Double wages. I accepted immediately. Warehouse 17 sat nearly 30 miles outside the city. It had once stored imported electronics before closing after a fire years earlier. Now it mostly held forgotten shipping containers waiting to be auctioned. The building was enormous. Rows of towering shelves stretched into darkness. The ceiling disappeared above the beams. Even during daylight, the place felt strangely dim. I met the previous guard. His name was Marcus. He looked exhausted. "You sure you're staying?" "Yeah." He handed me the keys. "If someone calls your name, don't answer." I laughed. He didn't. Then he drove away. Inside the office sat dozens of old security monitors. Most cameras still worked. There were 32 cameras covering nearly every aisle. My shift began at 8 p.m. Everything remained quiet. Until 10:17 p.m., camera 12 flickered. A person walked across the far aisle. I grabbed my flashlight, checked the location. Nothing. No doors open. No windows broken. No footprints. I returned. The figure had disappeared. I assumed it was camera interference. Around midnight, I heard metal crashing, not nearby, far inside, like heavy containers being dragged across concrete. The sound echoed endlessly. I radioed dispatch. Possible trespasser. They replied, "Investigate." So I entered. The deeper I walked, the colder it became. Every shelf looked identical. Every aisle stretched forever. My flashlight reflected off endless stacks of wooden crates. Then, footsteps. Behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Silence. I kept walking. Again, footsteps, matching mine perfectly. Whenever I stopped, they stopped. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Then, a child's laughter echoed somewhere above. Impossible. This warehouse had been abandoned for years. My radio filled with static. Then a voice, soft, barely audible. "Ethan." I froze. No one knew where I was inside the warehouse. The voice repeated, "Ethan?" It wasn't coming through the radio anymore. It came from behind me. I turned. Empty aisle. Yet, the temperature dropped so suddenly my breath became visible. Back inside the security office, I reviewed camera footage. Camera 12. 11:58 p.m. There I was, walking down the aisle. Behind me, exactly 6 feet back, another man followed. Same height, same uniform, same flashlight. Except his face wasn't mine. He had no face at all, just darkness. The footage ended. At 1:30 a.m., another guard arrived unexpectedly. His name was Daniel. Management sent him because dispatch lost contact with my radio. I told him everything. He smiled. Probably squatters. Together we searched. We reached loading dock 4. Daniel suddenly stopped. "Do you smell smoke?" I did. Burning plastic. Electrical fire. Exactly like something melting. The smell became overwhelming. Then, the warehouse lights shut off. Complete darkness. Emergency lights activated. Everything glowed red. Every aisle looked soaked in blood. Then, we heard dozens of footsteps. Not 2, not 3, hundreds, running, every direction, above us, beside us, behind us. Daniel yelled, "Run!" We sprinted. The footsteps followed. Closer, closer, closer. Then suddenly, silence. Daniel wasn't beside me anymore. He had vanished. I screamed his name. Nothing. Radio, nothing. Only static. Then, his voice. "Ethan, I'm down here." I looked toward shelf 48. Darkness. He sounded terrified. I walked closer. Again. "Ethan, help me." My flashlight reached the corner. No Daniel. Only a burnt worker's helmet lying on the floor. Then another voice. Same words. Same tone. Coming from behind me. "Ethan." I turned. No one. The voice moved again. Now above me. Something climbed across the warehouse ceiling. Fast. Too fast. Metal beams shook. Dust rained downward. I shined my flashlight upward. For half a second, I saw pale hands gripping the steel. Then they disappeared. I ran back toward the office. The security monitors switched on by themselves. Every screen showed the same hallway, except camera 12 now showed dozens of people standing silently. Workers, covered in burns, blackened faces, melted uniforms. Every one of them stared directly into the camera. Then, together, they smiled. All 32 monitors exploded into static. Dispatch finally answered. "Ethan, I need police." Before they replied, another voice interrupted. Calm, female. "There is no exit." The radio died. I found the emergency map. None of the hallways matched anymore. Doors had somehow changed places. Loading Dock 1 became Dock 7. Storage Room B disappeared entirely. The building had become a maze. Then I remembered something. Marcus, the previous guard. His warning. If someone calls your name, don't answer. I realized every terrible thing started after I whispered. "Who's there?" At nearly 3 a.m., I found Daniel, standing perfectly still, facing a wall. "Daniel?" He slowly turned. His eyes were completely white. He smiled, then whispered, "They're still working." Before I could react, he sprinted into darkness, faster than any human should move. I never caught him. Police arrived at 5:12 a.m. Sunlight filled the warehouse. Everything looked normal. No footsteps, no smoke, no red lights, no burnt workers. Only one thing remained: Daniel's flashlight, lying beside shelf 48. Daniel himself was never found. The investigation uncovered something horrifying. 8 years earlier, Warehouse 17 suffered a massive electrical fire. 23 workers became trapped inside. The company secretly sealed part of the building before firefighters arrived. Most workers burned alive. Several bodies were never recovered. Management covered everything up. Warehouse operations continued for months before finally closing. Security footage from my shift became evidence. Police reviewed every camera. At 2:47 a.m., one recording showed me running alone. Except investigators counted 24 shadows running beside me. There should have been one, mine. Instead, there were 24, one for each worker who died. Marcus quit immediately after hearing Daniel disappeared. Warehouse 17 closed permanently. No company would insure it. The government eventually fenced off the property. No one officially works there anymore. Yet, hunters camping nearby still report seeing lights inside. Truck drivers claim loading dock doors open every night around midnight. Security cameras installed outside continue recording. Workers pushing invisible carts across empty parking lots. Police investigated. Every time, the footage mysteriously vanished. Last winter, an urban explorer ignored warning signs. He live-streamed himself entering Warehouse 17. Thousands watched. For 23 minutes, nothing happened. Then, his flashlight revealed dozens of people standing silently between shelves. The live stream ended. His phone was recovered. He wasn't. Authorities never released the footage, but clips still appear online. Usually, just before they're deleted. I still have nightmares. Sometimes I wake hearing forklifts reversing, metal scraping concrete, someone calling my name, softly, patiently, waiting. If you've ever worked a warehouse night shift, you already know how loud silence can become. So if you ever find yourself alone, walking endless aisles, and someone behind you quietly whispers your name, keep walking. Don't answer. The end.